10 a.m.
Mr. Carey.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Hunt.
Here.
As you wish, please stand for the pledge and the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please be with us today. Keep us safe. Keep us out of harm's way. Dear Lord, be with those that need you. And we have many employees, families that need you this time, dear Lord. Thank you for all you've done for us. Dear Lord, be with us as we make the best decisions we can for the county. I ask this in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
The consent agenda is on the board. It has been published and posted. Motion?
I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Approve the bids of the overlay project.
John Gross, Highway Administrator. My recommendation will stay the same as it was last week. I just spoke with Bridget. Leadbelt Materials is still not fully registered with SAM, so we would take the lowest qualified bidder, which is Vern Bowman, $828,547.16 for the overlay of the county roads.
Okay. Motion to accept that bid.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid of,
Okay, that you make a motion.
$828,547.16
for about 16,
Vern Bowman.
from Vern Ballman.
Nay.
Okay, I'll second it. Okay, any questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you. Anthony Wallace with Leadbelt Materials Company. As you may remember from last week's meeting, Leadbelt was the lower of the bids on the project. Last week at this time, I informed the commission on the status of Leadbelt Materials within the U.S. federal government system for award management, which is more commonly referred to as the SAM.gov system. I will state at this time, as John mentioned, we have still not reached the fully active status in the SAM.gov system, which is the final step in their approval process. I can honestly state that Leadbelt Materials has done as much as we were possible able to do and has fulfilled the following SAM.gov system requirements. We've established a validated entity. We've obtained the required unique entity ID, or the UEI. We've completely submitted all required core data, assertions, representations, and certifications that are necessary. However, we are still at the submitted status in their system. Last week of this meeting, members of the Road and Bridge Department went on record stating their desire to be fair in the bidding processes and stated concern for a decision that could go against the integrity of the Road and Bridge Department and the county as a whole. I'd just like to point out some specifics in regards to the U.S. federal government system for award management. SAM.gov system was never identified or referred to in the bid book or the pre-bid documents that were issued to the potential bidders or those wishing to bid. Nor was a required status or level of activity within the system ever stated. No addendum was released or added to the project. We were told in an email that contractors must be registered with SAM, and that is a quote, must be registered with SAM. It's in our opinion that that statement is vague and could be open to a variety of interpretations. In an effort for striving for integrity and fairness, the lack of clear and specific information is more in line with insufficient and unfair in the bidding processes. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, I'm Brad Spar with Leadbelt Materials. A couple things I want to say. Yes, last week when Anthony and I came here and spoke, you guys granted us another week extension on the timeline. And we do greatly appreciate that. We appreciate you guys trying to work with us. At the time, we had no idea how long it was going to take. We've been told anywhere from 10 weeks or 10 days to 2 weeks. We took the week hoping that may happen, which it has not. One thing I'd like to share with you guys, just to be completely fair on what we did, so that you guys know that we actually did everything that was required of us, given the information that we were given for bidding the project. As Anthony said, he already commented on the bid packets with stuff in there. The only date that was ever in the bid packet was that the bids were going to be on May 7th. There was nothing as far as award dates in any of the documentation for anything with the project. Now, as stated last week, which we agreed to, the award date was something that was verbally mentioned and told to us at the pre-bid ride-along, which was 1 week before the actual bid on May 7th. That was fine. Once we bid the project, we turned in everything that was required to us for us paperwork-wise. Back on March 21st, we received an email that said, as Anthony said, that we had to be registered with SAM. That's all it said. When Anthony registered us through SAM, which is what we thought was a registration, we were given the UEI number and said that we were in the SAM system. So as far as we knew, we were in the system. We were good to go for our bid. At the ride-along, they even asked all of us, are you guys in SAM? Yes, we're in SAM. We were in SAM. So after the bids were opened on May 9th or 10th, received a phone call from John and said that, hey, you guys aren't visible on the SAM site. And we were like, we're not sure, what do you mean not visible? Bridget couldn't see us. So the way it works is once you're fully registered, you guys, us, anyone that wants to do business with somebody, we can go on there and look them up. So they looked us up. We didn't pop up. We thought, maybe we gave you something wrong on the number. Sent them an email, making sure our number was correct. We thought it was just, hey, just can't see us yet. No big deal. The following Monday, which would have been the 13th, we received an email from John stating that we are still not visible. Now, this was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday, the day before the award. Stated that we can't see you guys. Unfortunately, we're going to have to award this to Bauman because you're still not visible in SAM and 100% approved. And we're like, whoa, this is what's going on. We don't understand. Because none of this, we had never been, nothing had been said about you have to be approved to be awarded until then. All we were ever told up until that date, now this is after the bid, is that you just have to be registered in SAM, in the system. We were. We just didn't have all the check marks that Anthony had talked about. So that was the first time that we had heard that about the not being visible in SAM. Another thing that was brought to our attention at that time on that same phone call is that the process could take 6 to 8 weeks for you to get through the system. And that's what John, I believe, said that Bridget had mentioned to him. So if we do the math on that, the bid was on May 7th. We were given an email on the 21st of March. That was 6 weeks before the bid. So we were allowed the minimum amount of time to get registered. In our eyes, we would have liked to have been notified a lot longer than that. It's a 6 to 8 week process, and now this is the first time we heard this was last Monday, which is 6 days after the bid. We feel like, hey, that's not enough time. We really feel like we did everything that we were supposed to for this bid, and there just wasn't enough time. Now, I don't know when the county decided to use ARPA for the project. I don't know when the gentleman here knew how long it might take. Were they required to tell us how long it took? Again, kind of some gray area there. But we were given only the minimum for the bid. To me, that's not right, especially as Anthony's alluded to when you're dealing with the federal government. Be realistic, when they say 6 to 8 weeks, you can probably, it can take a lot longer. I mean, we've all been there with different stuff, so we know that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we just feel like we didn't have enough time. Not necessarily anybody's fault, but it's just the process of the government with the different program you guys are doing this year. Previous years, we've done overlay for the county for a long time. I can't give you the year and the dates and the conversations and the days, but there have been other times where it was told that, hey, we're planning on awarding this the week after a bid. Stuff came up on St. Francis County side, day before the bid, hey guys, we're not gonna award it this week, we're gonna have to hold off for a week or two. No big deal. That's all we've been asking, is a delay for something that is out of our control. And we feel that we met every requirement with the information that we were given for this process and for this bid. And we just really think it'd be very sad for us to throw away $75,000 of taxpayers' money. Again, the timelines, we're gonna meet the deadline. We have till the end of September. It's only 3 or 4 weeks work. We could not start paving for 2 months if we wanted to. You guys are not gonna lose your money by delaying this until our stuff comes in. And it will come in. We don't know when. It's the government. We have no red flags. We have no reason to think that it won't. But I just can't tell you how long it will take. But it's not gonna hurt anyone to give us some more time for this box to be checked and us to do the work.
Brett, can I ask you a question? Last week when you guys came, and this may be lacking information, I just need to know, because for us, we're on record as you guys saying, if I don't have it by Tuesday,
Yes.
I'm not gonna come to this meeting. I
Yes,
just wanna
we
know
did.
what is, please, just explain to me why you're asking me this one.
So last Monday, 9 o'clock, John says, Tuesday, talked to John on the phone, we've been talking about this, we're still not visible. So like, is there any chance we can extend this award like we have in the past on some stuff? No, we're awarding it today, this is what we're doing. We said, okay, we'll come to the meeting. We did. We didn't have time to prepare, we didn't have time to go back and get a chronological timeline for you guys and exact information to share with you that we were given, and a little bit of a detailed description on how this process works with SAM. There's a lot of contractors out there that do SAM every year. They do projects where they're required to have it, so they redo it all the time. We haven't been on a project that required SAM for 13 years. So we had to go from start to finish to the whole process again. Some people probably get it done quicker because they may have just a renewal from last year. For us, it was a whole process. So that's why we wanted to come back. You are right. You're 100% right. We said, give us a week. We were willing to take anything, and we did. But we just wanted to share with you guys that this isn't something that we did. You know, this is just a function of the government. We feel like we wanted to share all of the details with you guys so that you understand completely where we stand. I appreciate that. So, thank you.
You talk about a $75 loss and going to the second bidder. But if we do this and you still don't get the SAM, then we lose a whole lot more than that. We lose grants, we lose, I don't know what all, Bridget, a lot of stuff.
If I can say something, the Federal Code of Regulations, I think it's 2 CFR Part 25, is the one that states that any company that does business with a non-for-profit, federal government, state, county, city, they're using federal funding, they have to be registered in SAM.gov. It's a federal code, it's a federal regulation. It's not anything new. It's not anything that we've made, you know, because it's our rule. It's a federal rule for any government entity that uses federal funding, and every company that wants to be a part of, you know, that process has to be registered. And this is nothing new. I mean, it's been, you know, a regulation for years.
Does that have to be listed at the time of the award?
It depends on the grant itself, but this is just a federal regulation. It's
Okay.
2 CFR Part 25, I believe is what it is.
Okay, and you'll have to apply for that, so you'll need that documentation.
Right, so if any company, I mean, and this is not anything bad against Leadville, I'm just saying, you know, for just informative purposes, that any company that wants to do business with any state or county or city, and they're gonna be using federal money, they have to be registered in that. So I mean, you know, we were telling them as a courtesy, to make sure that you have that, because we know that is a requirement.
And Bridget, that's before we pay anything, correct? I mean, so if, say we went with that, but before anything was paid, they'd have to have that, is that, cause I'm making sure that they can still get awarded it, but we can't pay anything before they
They
have
need
this.
to have, you cannot award.
Award it, okay.
You cannot award anything if they're not,
That's
yeah.
fine. Okay.
Okay, so even at the start of the award.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can, yeah, if they have to be registered in order to be
It's
awarded.
awarded, okay, I just wanted to make sure we were on the,
Yeah.
Harold, can I
Again,
speak?
it's nothing against any company, I'm just putting information out there.
And I would say that I agree with what Bridget is saying, that is
Yes.
accurate. I can probably tell you I've spent a lot more time dealing with the System for Award Management than I have with anything else over the course of the past 2 weeks. I've spent many hours on the phone, and I can tell you this, and what Bridget says is correct, we have our validation with the Internal Revenue Service. We have our assignment of a cage code with the Commercial and Government Entity Code System. The one thing we lack right now is approval from the Defense Logistics Agency, which is a department of the Department of Defense. So, yeah.
And I was gonna speak up on this. I've got this paper right here, and the Defense Logistics Agency is actually, open 24/7. The other two entities is closes. They've had plenty of time to do it. They've got their number, everything's on there, but basically it's saying they're not a terrorist group. That's what's holding this up. If this paper had Bauman on it or Jokers, I would still vote like I was, because this is government that costs us money. And I understand what went on last week. I wasn't here, that was my fault. But if this was a Bauman or a Jokers in a bid, I would still vote for them to have a chance at this.
Okay, but again, at the time of the award, they must be registered.
Yes.
And actually today is the time of the award. Right? Okay, yes?
That's your decision.
Is it okay if I come up and speak? Just
Sorry, that was your name.
Just make it known, if we didn't care about this county and the taxpayers' dollars in this county, we wouldn't be putting the effort into it that we are.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rick Cash. I'm actually president of Leadbelt Materials. I know the first thing that you're all thinking right now is, out of these three guys, who is the oldest guy up here? That's me.
Oh, that was, okay.
Of us three. Anyway.
Okay.
Thank you very much again, guys. I just want to tell you all that I'm getting a little bit off track here, I know, but we've done business with St. Francis County for 49 years. We've paved a lot of roads. We've done a lot of business with materials and so forth. And we sure appreciate every bit of that. We're here for, I hope everyone in this room we all have the same agenda. We all want to do what's right. And we're here for our company along with the taxpayers. $75,000. I know a lot of you are sitting in here thinking of your departments, how much you could do with $75,000. So as I just summarize, I'm not going to talk a long time. I just want to say that I just have a lot of questions. It doesn't, I just don't quite understand. As we're just sitting here talking about the award date, question to the commission is, what award date is that you have to be mandated to do? Or do you look at this and say, you know what, we could award this 3 or 4 weeks down from here and we're still okay, and we save $75,000? Or we just say, oh, it's got to be done on this date, 1 week, even though the commission has a list of the boxes that have green check marks, all but one, where the guy pushes a button and says it's approved. That's what we're up against. And I guess, yeah, if we look at some of the summary here of how the bid package was, yeah, I see a lot of things that maybe are not correct. but that's not really why we're here. We're here just asking to hear the question to you guys. What liability is it to you if you waited 3 or 4 weeks, or whatever that is, and saved the county, the taxpayers, I'm on the taxpayer side now, saved this county $75,000 just by waiting? What is that liability? What is that hurting you all, St. Francis County, by waiting? And now the first thing I think of, okay, funding. Somebody mentioned the funding, I think Bridget did. I get it. You gotta have funding, and whoever put that together, good for them, good for St. Francis County. But we are assuring you all, the county, that all these check marks are adding up. It's just the guy pushing the button. And if you waited, wouldn't you feel good about saving all of us in this room and the county residents $75,000? That's what I just appreciate you think about. The legality of the bid package, we could go on and on about that, I guess, what is right and what's wrong. If it is something that bothers you, I guess maybe you should look at, suggest legal counsel to look at it to see if there's something wrong there. I don't know. But we're not really so much on that. I'm glad these guys showed what our time frames, why it happened the way it did. Other than that, thank you everybody. Please think about this. If it's not for Lead Belt, the taxpayers, every one of you, our company is St. Francis County. Other companies are not. We're all taxpayers and voters of this county. We love our county. We appreciate everything that all of you do in here. So appreciate your consideration, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parks,
So, I know my office, we just deal with the money, I mean, but a big part is we try to find ways that we can make money on these investments, on finding better interest rates. Another part is trying to save money. So I know I've made this comment a few times, is we have to start looking at each department as our own business. When we're using taxpayers' money, sometimes we get relaxed, we don't think that way. If this was our business, what would we do here? And that's what I keep thinking is this is my business and I can save $75,000. I know there's some hoops to jump through, and I know there's other parts of that, but $75,000, this is my business. I think everybody in this room would agree we would probably find a way to save the $75,000. That's my insight there. We're always trying to find ways to save money in this county, and this is an opportunity right here. Now, I don't know all the sides of the grant and everything else in the ARPA there, of all the hoops we got to jump through, but I feel like part of my responsibility is trying to find ways to save this county money and to make more money for this county on investments and everything else. So that's my stance in my office, but again, I'm just seeing $75,000 of the taxpayers' money, like Rick mentioned right there, and
we keep hearing, go ahead.
Kind of hard to look past that. I know there's other stuff that I don't understand, but coming from my office, I have a hard time knowing we're past up $75,000.
No, we keep talking about $75,000. But we need to know that we're way hundreds of thousands of dollars of past and future grants.
Well, I agree, yeah, that's where I think we need to make
Yes.
sure we're.
So we need to have, if we're doing any of these overlay projects, anything that deals with infrastructure, I have to have all of the ARPA money set up in the system as far as what we're spending it on by the end of September. And I know that sounds like it's a long way away, but we've still got a lot of ARPA money, and if we don't know how much this is gonna be, and I allocate this amount, and then if I over allocate it, and I can't move it to something else, we've lost that grant money, we have to give it back to the federal government.
So it's really quite a bit before September is the deadline.
Yeah.
Because
we're
of the
gonna have to
paperwork
figure
and
out-
all.
Exactly, we need to figure out to the exact penny where we're gonna put all this money at, and I've still got quite a bit sitting
Okay,
there
so we've
to
got-
be allocated.
If we do this early enough, we can do a lot of other projects too.
Correct.
And if we don't, and so,
We could lose it, we have to give it back to the federal
and
government.
that would be well over the 75,000 too.
Yes.
But the only certainty is we will lose the 75,000.
Yes.
So,
That's a certainty.
like what Bridget's saying, we have to have this money allocated. If we do not, before the time frame that she needs, we could be in jeopardy of losing $974,000 of money. And two, maybe they'll get registered, maybe they won't. I can't say that they will or they won't, I have no idea. But if it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and they don't get registered for some reason, then what's that do to the other contractors, I should say, that are qualified? Now you're going into a deadline of 2 months before we can have this money spent. Not to mention, we were just trying to get this ARPA money allocated before the deadline. We'll have another $750,000 to $800,000 that we need to use this year also, potentially do some overlays. We were just trying to make sure all the money comes in.
And you won't know the total until the jobs are done.
That's correct. Both of these, actually, all 3 bids come in under what is still available to be used in the ARPA. We needed to see what this bid was, because there is still gonna be some money left over that we can use to do some more overlay with the ARPA funds. So we
Until it's awarded, it's not allocated.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Yes.
Just curiosity has got me though, this date that we're kind of talking about with Bridget and the road guys here, what could be your last date that you have? Does it have to be this exact date? I'm back to the 75,000. What if you went 2 days, 20 days? What would be your deadline you all think that is point of no return, where you couldn't do it? I guess what I'm saying or asking, can you tell everybody, the residents here, that we waited till the last possible date and we had to start action to move this forward? Is there a date there that you maybe have in mind? Or is it, we're done, forget the 75,000?
Would you? Yeah.
That's
The
up to
date-
you
the date
and
that we
Rich,
set.
that's not me.
The date during the pre-bid meeting that we conveyed to the 2 contractors that showed up to the pre-bid meeting and the right was May 14th. We were gonna open and award bids a week after they were open.
It's not wise to cut it down to the last day.
No. And
I
we
mean,
don't,
think of it if, I'm just gonna use them as an example. If they were not the low bidder, and we come to them in this same situation with 2 months left, or whatever that time frame was, and said, hey, we're now selecting you guys because the low contractor could not get qualified. We need you to do all of these ARPA roads before this deadline.
Can I make one more comment on that? John's 100% right. If you wait 2 months, nobody's asking to wait another 2 months to award this project. We're just asking up to you guys, can you give us more time? And how much are you comfortable with? We're not asking for 2 months. We get that. After what Bridget said, we understand. We wouldn't ask that. It's just, can you give us some more? And then it's up to you guys, how much is that?
But you've been given 2 weeks now. John and Clay extended it 1 week earlier. We extended it last week. Every time hoping that you would have it.
Been given 1 week.
Well, you guys didn't have it when the bid opened.
Okay.
I mean,
Secondly, the second bidder also didn't have Sam's, but he got it in plenty of time. He was notified at the same time as you, and apparently in the same manner. And they have theirs.
Well, may I comment on that? Because last week at the meeting, that was mentioned, Kevin brought up about the second bidder. As far as what John said, they had it several months ago. So that would have been before the March 21st email. Like I said, they may have had
That's
it.
not correct.
No, I understand that they learned the same time as you did.
that is
okay.
correct, yes.
I'm just, and maybe John.
but somebody did say
He did
that there
say
was
several
one
months.
that had it for a while now.
They were all notified on
Right.
the exact same
But,
day.
Correct.
but one company had it a lot longer than the other 2.
One was registered
Okay.
before the deadline.
I heard that too, and I'm sorry, I did the same thing.
One was registered before the deadline.
Well, there's a lot of, you guys were, you can look around the room, I'm not, and you know me, I'll speak my piece, I'm not looking for, I guess I'm looking for all the votes I can get, but I'm not making this decision because of that. I'm looking at it, you look at our treasurer talking about $75,000, you're looking at you guys talking about $75,000. That's a whole lot. How much could we pay extra?
3/4 of a mile of road.
Right, extra with that 75,000. I know last week I made the thing to rescind my bid and wait until that deadline, but also they didn't have all the information. We have so much information that you're given, and you gotta go off of that. I don't wanna see a company in our backyard. I know, and trust me, other companies have other things in the area that they can say they're local and whatever else. I'm gonna do it. I don't like to go back and forth, you guys know that, and I know you guys not gonna make everybody happy with this decision, but I'm gonna rescind withdraw my motion.
Okay, and we didn't have a third,
No, we did not.
Okay,
so.
so we have no motion now, right?
We have no motion.
Okay.
And you're lacking a second for the motion to.
Okay,
So you.
so now do I have a motion? No motion.
No
No
motion.
motion, so that you just take it, to next week.
Rick, a question to you guys, and I know you can't answer this probably, but, can't keep waiting, but I can.
Understood.
I probably have Carrie's backing with this. I can wait till next Tuesday or a special meeting if we needed to. If, say, they call you tonight, I don't mind having a special meeting 2 days from now, but
Have you went through Senator Schmidt or Congressman Smith
No, we have not.
before you leave here?
We probably
Come
talked.
get their cell phones from them.
Okay.
Okay.
We probably talked to 12, 15 federal people. Out
It's
of
always
that
better to
12 or
come
15.
up, down.
But you asked for our last day, it can't be, and I know Bridget's trying to move on this, I know these guys are moving on it, and
Well, our question is,
We've got-
then why bid and have deadlines?
well,
Why even
also.
why even do it?
But
Well,
Clay
we could
also,
take 75,000 out.
well,
But it's compared to $1 million
Yeah.
possible
no,
loss.
and right, I mean, there's a lot riding on this money,
How
I
possible
mean,
is that
really,
$1
both
million
ways.
thing?
So,
Well, $1 million loss, but how likely is it? I mean, if we wait a week or two to save the county $75,000, are we really, is there a
Let's
chance
say we
we're
go
gonna
ahead
use
and
it?
award this project, and they don't have the approval yet. The money, or the work's done, they build, and they still don't have it, for some reason it doesn't happen.
No, you gotta wait to award it once they get it. If you don't have that, you can't do it.
right, and as soon as they had it, say they had it in 2 days, but, yeah, we're sitting around waiting for Tuesday, guys, for the next one, we're just like, we gotta move on. And I appreciate you guys being here and giving those that you know more about the information, because, yeah, you get a phone call that morning, I understand, but, man, I know, and I'm sorry that you guys, yeah, I got 2 important guys right here doing their job day to day and trying to make the infrastructure of our county up to par. You guys have been a big part of that too, so that all weighs in your motion, and that's why I'm gonna, let's, table it
Till when?
Tuesday morning. And I guarantee I'm not gonna be up here saying it again, but
I suggest that we just.
you want to take under advisement?
Yeah, under advisement,
Because
because
we
if
can
they
do
get
it.
a call this
Yeah,
afternoon,
there you
you
go.
get awarded Thursday.
Yes, let's do that.
And I'm gonna speak up here, I haven't said a lot, but if one of the other 2 had a piece of paper that was waiting to say that they weren't a terrorist company, I would be for them too, because I think this is just,
Oh, and don't get me
I
wrong.
don't agree with it.
If Bauman,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
agree
throw
at
out
all.
there,
If one of the
the
other
big one.
2, and they're, say they're not a company from here, it's just not fair, in my opinion, you've got two organizations that's passing one in Hatton that says you're a terrorist group. I don't think any of them's a terrorist group.
Well, the road and bridge department works many months in advance, many months in prepping these roads and getting things ready to go. So we're in limbo here. What, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months,
And
3
we are.
months? We don't know.
We're not
We're
waiting.
trying to work,
I'll tell you that right now.
get
we're
our
not
work
waiting.
done ahead of time.
We have all but one road ready to pay.
Well,
And like I
And
said,
as far as
you
paving
guys,
season goes, this is kind of late in the year to get started.
okay, let's
We're
put
all
this
right.
under advisement. I want it on the record that I'm opposed to it, but, that's, it's not a vote, so,
So reflected.
okay. Okay, so, what do you, okay, we can't do this now,
So
right?
you
Table the next day.
Go to general business.
let's table it.
Okay, Chubb Insurance Program, This is, as it says, for property and equipment. And, those are the dollar amounts that will be this year, the 124,760. And that includes the 4486 terrorism. And we have the option of opting out of that if we wish. So, in a motion, if you choose to make a motion, please determine whether you want to include terrorism in that amount.
Can I clarify one of the things?
Yes.
You know, this is what we held this up on last week, is because they raised the deductible per building to 100,000. We looked to a reinsurer to find out if we could make up the difference between the 25, because we would have at 100,000, and it would cost $39,000 premium a year to make that. That's very difficult to advise this, that $39,000 to insure a $75,000 possible loss. You know, if you all want to do it, we can pursue it, but I've talked to you all individually and you didn't seem to pursue it, so this is what we would be. And you have to decide if you want the 4486 terrorism, because I don't think that includes IT protection either. It's just in case there's a terrorist act.
Motion?
Kevin, I wanna ask you a question before we go there. What falls under a terrorism addition?
Very little.
What would fall under a terrorism, explain?
I asked that question, the definition, any act of violence caused by terrorists. That's the definition.
And that we would be partially liable for. If somebody, they could prove we didn't have adequate security or something, and
Can you point a finger and say that?
Well, I would say I would call the Sam Group and ask them, but we
Well,
might be able before we get an answer.
I thought I'd go in there and I didn't. So,
You didn't go there?
Okay. Do I have a motion, and please,
I would probably recommend not paying the extra $4,400 for terrorism, that if it was mine.
you would not?
I would not spend the $4,400.
So we'll need to, I don't have that deducted amount. It'd be the 124 minus the
You
44.
just say less the 4486.
Okay.
All right, I make a motion we renew the Chubb insurance for the oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
I just had a question, the $39,000 buyout to get the deductible over, is that per building? Or is that just added to the premium for the year
We
as a
added
whole?
premium.
So it'd actually be $75,000 savings, potential savings per
Right.
building, which we have.
And on wind
6
damage,
coverage.
the chance that you have multiple buildings in multiple locations all damaged at the same time are very, very
'Cause
slight.
if we get
So it would
a
be.
hailstorm at this building, there's a very good potential that next door is gonna get hit, which would be a
These are the two
$200,000
closest, but there
hit.
wouldn't be a very good chance of the chemical building up in the northern part be hit with the same,
Chemical building?
whatever that you put on the road trip.
When we're actually under umbrella too, John. We've got an amount where if one building gets hit, you can actually use an umbrella that'll cover on the insurance.
But this was for the wind and hail, correct?
Right.
Yes.
So if we have a wind or hail event, this building's $100,000 deductible, that building's $100,000 deductible.
That's correct.
So that $39,000 then.
But I asked that about the, say, the complex of buildings at the jail. And the jail itself, in our opinion, that whole group of buildings is one envelope.
And it's
But the
valued at
maintenance
about
building-
19 million.
But the maintenance building is separate, different construction, would be considered another building. As an example.
So like each department is responsible for their part of the premium for their building, correct? Is that the way that
Budget
works?
works on that.
No.
I think each department,
Would it come out there,
Has
or
to-
would it come out of?
That would be audited.
so like our part, our building is valued at 1.9 million. So it'd be an extra 2,000 of that 39,000 that we would be responsible for. So when you take that $75,000 difference, it would take us about 37 years.
I don't know if you prorate something that they would say that if you get damage, you'd be out 100,000, because you've got the same exposure as the other buildings.
Right, but if we lowered that at our cost, then we would have $25,000 deductible instead of $100,000.
Okay. Yeah, Louis?
So, Kevin, can you explain the reason for the increase? Is there a particular?
Insurance nationwide is up 26% year over year.
Was there any?
We're right in there.
That's all, you're almost to dime a gab. If you've done car insurance or home insurance, my HOA fee went up a lot down south, it's several $100s a month, because number one cost rise is we had a 27% increase on,
So there is no particular event or events that was the reason
no,
for the
yeah,
increase?
but there's an event that was the reason. The excessive tornado damage in the Midwest and the hurricane damage, that was the event, not our event.
Okay.
The whole industry has said we're not gonna cover because of the outflow of money unless we raise it about that percent. And some of them were 24, some of them were 28, but the average year over year is 27. That's, to me, incredible.
In the wind and hail.
Especially in a period where we're not having any inflation.
You also did due diligence with talking with other insurance providers.
First State Bank they're the ones that are actually shopping around, finding out, and Chubb is still who they recommend for the coverage, but we did ask them to go and see if we could have a reinsured, to cover that gap. And it'd be like on your home, if you have a $300,000 home, and they say, okay, you're gonna have in your case, a $10,000 deductible, paying about $2,000 or $3,000 extra a year for that difference in the coverage between the $10,000 and the potential damage of the tornado.
I would disagree with your assessment on the terrorism premium of $4,500. It seems like a small amount to be protected in the event that would occur.
If it covered IT, I would agree with you.
The problem is that term it's so big. I mean, a lot of these things, there's no actual, you get there and you think you're protected, then you find out, well, that didn't actually qualify, so we just wasted that money. I know that's the problem with the, you really
That's why I
have to read
said,
through
I don't care what, that's why I put it on there. If they want to take it for that, it's just a matter of it, as he said, his definition of terrorist act is to somebody causing harm, and we'd have to be brought into the lawsuit, we'd have to be liable for that part of the lawsuit. And we do have some overall coverage through MOPRM on some of those events, but once again, we have a $10,000 event.
Can we get more extensive language on that terrorism coverage? I mean, will they actually sign up with that?
I think that's the official language.
But I mean, there has to be more in the writing, there has to be
They're gonna make it
more.
as vague as possible.
I mean, to answer Louis, I mean, I think
Give
that
them
would,
wiggle room.
if we actually could read that, we'd see more of that, but.
Okay.
That's up to you guys.
The government.
The government.
Okay, if you make a motion, please determine whether you want the terrorism or
Yes,
not.
I got you.
Okay,
Okay, I'm going to make the motion that we pay the annual premium of, we're gonna go with Chubb Renew Chubb Insurance for the annual of $124,760 less the $4,486 for the terrorists.
second,
I'll second.
questions? All in favor of renewing Chubb, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, approve a bid for the circuit clerk. It's been a Larry office supply, I believe, and motion,
Is this the annual bid or just?
I'll make the motion that we approve bids for the office supplies for the circuit clerk for Menlo area office supplies.
needs to get to be purchased, so we can't give a dollar amount.
Gotcha. Okay, I second that.
You have questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Order your stuff.
Thank
Okay, now we're gonna get to know Angie. Angie, come on up.
My first one is, we requested that the assessor do court orders, and there was agreement for this for the years 2019 through 2023 on this parcel due to the parcel was mapped incorrectly. We were actually told for decades. This gentleman realized that he had been paying on 3 acres and a dilapidated cabin that joins his parcel. He had somehow got on and started doing research, and so he contacted the assessor's office, and we agreed that that is how far back we would go because he's been overpaying for this amount of time. So we were going back to 5 years. He has had the place since 2008, but I did let him know that we would be going to do the 19 through the 23. And so the amount of the refund to Mr. Vogel will be the $1441.95. And we just need the approval before we can issue that refund.
Okay, motion to accept this refund.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we waive the penalty and interest from the collector's error to refund the amount of $1,441.95 to Charles and Lori Vogel.
I do want to make just a statement here that it's not just interest and penalty. He was actually paying for the 3 acres that did not even belong to him.
Okay, and this was,
Yeah,
Yes.
this was,
refund of taxes too.
Yes, for
This-
that, it's a new
yeah.
parcel going on for this year, and it's actually an unknown owner of the parcel as well. Someone does say that they own it, but they have no proof of a deed. So currently, it's gonna be put on the books for this year as an unknown owner.
Okay. Oh, I'll second that, sorry.
Questions, comments? Yes, Carol?
You say you can only go back 5 years, why?
That's just the decision that was made. We talked, with personal property, they normally go back 2 years, sometimes 3. We kind of put the responsibility also on this gentleman of why, on his statement, it would have said agriculture, that's what he has, and it would have also said residential. And so, we were just willing to go back and agree on that. I can look into this farther and get a better answer for you.
That's good enough.
Any other questions? Okay, I have a motion second. Okay, all in favor of approving this refund, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Angie?
Okay, and the next
I
one.
don't have a slide for your next one.
Okay. The next one, this gentleman sent an email through the website stating that he had gotten a notice with handwritten changes to the address. We do have 2 of our girls in the office go through LexisNexis. It's a really great tool to find people that when we get the return mail. But he had not gotten a bill since 2021 in the assessor's records. He lives in Australia, if I didn't mention that. They had a Von Terre zip code and part of an Australian address. So it was just completely, at the county's fault that he had not received anything else. And so, what's that? The amount, and it's the amount that.
$60.33.
Yes, $60.33 to be taken off. And that includes a $9 certified mail fee, and then also the interest and penalty, for 21, 22, and 23, $60.33.
How's T-Z-I-N-G-E-R or S-G?
Yeah, it says Singer, it's Zinger, Z for the
Is it
S.
T or S-Z?
Z-S-I-N-G-E-R.
Okay, Z-S.
Yeah, and we have told him that if we get approval, then, we will waive that, and he will have to mail in his payment to receive the difference.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll make a motion that we refund in the amount of $60.33 because it is at fault of the county.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Questions? All in favor of approving the 6033 refund, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, Angie? Oh, I do have some. Now, this is for both of these or what, the court order?
The only one that will need the court orders, which the court orders have been done, was the first one with the gentleman who had been paying on land that was not his.
Okay.
This whole time.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes, Charles Vogel. Yes.
Okay, so we
The
just
other
need
one- I'm
to
sorry.
approve that, get in the minutes, so we approve that.
Yes.
Okay.
The second one I spoke of, Mr. Zinger, we will go into if we get approval, we'll go into the software, and we put the date back as if he was paying on time in December of each of those years, and then it will not collect the interest and penalty.
Okay.
Do we need a motion for the court order?
Needed a reference.
Yes.
Okay. So I make a motion that the request for the court order from assessor for the Vogel property.
I'll second.
Questions?
That was already.
Right.
This is the,
No?
Well, not the court order, we approved the refund. Oh, it's all the same? Sure, okay, whatever.
Okay,
is this a different person?
No, it is.
Same one,
it is
just
the
for
first
that,
one.
for the first one.
okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
May I suggest that while she's standing up here, we go ahead and wait on the resolution next to go to her approving, destroying the.
That's the next thing. Okay, Angie?
Yes, I have recently consolidated accounts. I had 3 sweep accounts and the ePay, the credit card, and the auto agent and entity accounts. Most counties do consolidate those accounts. It's going to make everything a lot easier with reconciling the accounts every month. And so those accounts are now closed, and we do have unused checks and deposit slips from the closed accounts. And worked with the auditor's office, making sure that I was keeping all that how it should be. We just need to destroy the unused things.
Okay. Motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve to destroy the unused checks and deposit slips for closed accounts for the collector.
Second? Second,
Oh, I second.
okay.
Somebody's lost again.
Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Angie, thank you, Angie. Angie brought me 2 pieces of returned mail to show me this past week. One of them was originally mailed on November 7, 2022. And it had been floating around the system since then to be returned here. The other was in November of 23. So I concur because in March 5th of this year, I turned in a change of address form. I haven't received mail since then. Now, you talk about your life changing, that'll change your life. I don't have many bills coming by mail, but I don't have any now. And so you have to track down who you think you owe. You might be late, you don't know, you've probably forgotten somebody. I'm upset with the United States Postal Service. Enough said. Okay. Okay, next item. We need to, I'd like to pass this resolution about the Purple Heart. It's a honored group of people. And so, motion to accept this resolution.
I make, gosh, darn, I can't talk this one. I make a motion, we accept the Purple Heart County resolution.
Second,
I'll second.
questions?
And the gentleman did say, guys, that he would get with you guys if we needed, if we wanted to purchase any signs, that would be the only cost for being the Purple Heart County, would be the cost of signage, and he would give you guys replacement, that I think they can place them or something, if you guys had a spot, if you wanted a pole put up or whatever, but, yeah, so that would be the only cost of the county is for those signs.
Would that be on county roads or on state highways?
Well,
To be determined.
Typically on
To be
state
right,
highways,
to
and
be
they're gonna have to
determined.
mow
To be
down.
determined.
Yeah,
Okay.
gotcha.
Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, approved bids for the jail, for the glazing and, freezers and coolers. Those are the low bids shown. And our maintenance crew will do all the installation. So this is materials only. And, the total cost would be $97.85. Motion,
I'll make a motion that we approve the bids for the jail glazing and the jail cooler and freezer for the amount of $90,785, and this will be through our CMAR, and that would be through Brockville. And it would be paid for with ARPA money.
okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Permission to apply for grant, Mr. Ryan. I always try to end our meetings with the glowing person.
Oh, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Mike Ryan, San Francisco County. This grant is through Missouri Department of Public Safety with the Office of Homeland Security. It's not a matching grant, and there is no limit to the grant. It is for equipment and training. I'm actually, Nick Jones is not here, but this will be for the Sheriff's Department, Emergency Management, and the ID Department for St. Francis County. We're looking at additional training for active school shooters and to put together a STAR team, which is Special Tactics and Response. Same thing as SWAT. Some people don't like the word SWAT. STARS is relatively nice. With their training and equipment, we wanted to also add a firearm simulator. realistically, the department should probably qualify 4 times a year. We only do twice a year, cost of ammo. The firearm simulator would allow us to do 4 times a year at no cost of ammo. And if we get a simulator on the grant, then we don't have to pay for that either. We wanted to add a second drone as well, because we wanted to have 2 pilots. The patrol does 12-hour shifts. We have 2 platoons, 2 squads per platoon, so platoon A and platoon B don't work together. Different days off, so we'd have a drone per platoon. Since we've gotten our drone and put it in use, we've already deployed it several times. So it's a really good piece of equipment. In reference to the patrol equipment, we are gonna have ballistic shields. That's part of the equipment for outfitting a STAR team, which we would put no less than a 10-man team together. And you're looking at, the training for that would be about $10,000 to train all 10. And it's about $8,000 per officer to equip with the gear, the comms, the firearms, and things of that nature. Let me see, with that, Nick Jones wanted to add for emergency management, 6 handheld Moswin radios for emergency management. They're digital radios, so they go off of cell tower, cell reception. And he also let me see, IT department, he wanted a 3-layer switch. He explained it to me. It's something to do with cybersecurity. Your line comes in, it breaks it down into, say a line comes into the annex, and then you have several switches between the assessors, the auditors, the county clerk's office. If someone were to come in, it would break it down to where only one of those offices would be affected, and none of the other offices would be affected by cybersecurity that would come in through that 3-layer switch. If I said that correctly, you'll probably correct me later.
That was
So
the IT person. Okay.
Right. Was that close? All right, thanks. So everything that we were looking at, I didn't have prices yet on training. We wanted to also host a training, which when you host a training, you get a discounted rate for hosting the training. And that's through a Blue and Gold, and it's basically for drug interdiction, traffic stops and things of that nature, for advanced training on that for our officers that we have with the county. And that training itself would be open to other agencies within the county, surrounding counties and stuff like that, if they wanted to attend. I was asking, the total amount would be somewhere around $430,000 to get all of that. It is a 2-year grant, so we could break that up when the money comes out over the 2-year period, make claims periodically instead of paying up front the $430 and waiting for the reimbursement. So that is a plus, being in a 2-year grant period.
What's the deadline like?
The
for
deadline is
application?
June 14th.
Yeah.
Mike, have we applied for this before, just first?
I have not, I don't know if we have before. I've never done one with Homeland Security and Missouri Department of Public Safety.
So no.
I think maybe IT did once, maybe for a drone, but we didn't get it. But, I think this one is different than what the other one.
So there's no limit of what you can ask for?
No,
and what-
there was no limit and
So
there's no
this is a
match.
very good grant.
And no match.
It's a non-matching.
I looked at the history, in the last 2 years, this grant in total has given out almost $2 billion each year.
Not to us.
Not that.
No, not to us yet. Okay, Mike, so this is a no matching grant, and it's, he's gonna apply for $430,000.
I make a motion that we give permission for them to apply for the grant for the Missouri Department of Public Safety / Office of Homeland Security grant at no match for the funds.
I'll second that. It's a good grant.
And I did talk to the sheriff about it in reference to the total funds, that we'd be upfront for over the course of 2 years, but get reimbursed for.
Mike, tell me about your drone deployments. What have you used it for?
We've had search for we've had fire structures that we were searching over. We had searched areas of property prior to the search warrant. Search warrant was issued, we just didn't execute it, which executing it with the drone, we can still do that. So there's been various things that we've already deployed it on.
It sounds like you have heat-seeking cameras.
Well, it does have a thermal camera on it, so, I think when we first got it, we went, the road and bridge back behind the sheriff's department had a burn pile, and we flew over it, and it registered the burn pile currently at like 988 degrees. So it can read thermal and read body temperature. That was at one point because we applied for the grant for, COVID relief. So you can still read body temperature, whether you're running 103 temperature, then we probably really don't want to have close contact with you, so.
And he just explained why you can put paper cups in your oven, because paper doesn't burn until 900 degrees. You didn't know that, but anyway. I did not know that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, important information. Okay, do we have a motion second? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Sorry about that cupcake cup thing. Okay. Next regular meeting will be Tuesday, next week. And, anybody have correspondence? Public comments? Departmental reports?
Agendas need to be posted.
Yes,
on,
because
Friday, this is the
Monday.
Monday holiday. We
I've got a
also
slide
had
on-
a
I have-
withdrawal, we had a withdrawal
I have a
yesterday.
slide on that.
A withdrawal from the public administrators. Wolford withdrew yesterday.
Okay.
And we start absentee voting 5 weeks from today.
And the deadline for withdrawing is at 5 p.m. today?
It's next week.
That's it. Okay. Okay. Any other departmental reports? Yes.
So Commissioners, yesterday, Missouri Association of Counties and the Missouri Department of Health had a Zoom meeting concerning opioid settlement reporting. I think Parks was part of that meeting yesterday as well.
I tried and couldn't get on.
Well, you're late.
But I was with
There was 900, at this point, $900 million has been appropriated for the state of Missouri for the next 18 years, which started back in 2021. 40% going to local governments. St. Francis County has received $540,000 today, which is on interest.
43,000 came in yesterday.
Last year, statewide expenses, 57% of what was spent statewide, not locally, was up for prevention, 40% was for treatment and recovery. So a total of 97% of that amount. Local counties received $23 million last year. 3.2 million was actually spent. 70% of the counties, that was 65 of 93 counties, did not spend any funds last year, including this county. Drug overdoses were the #1 deaths in Missouri last year for 18 to 44-year-olds. 6 died daily, 4 from drug overdoses or drugs. And in 2022, St. Francis County ranked 10th of all counties in Missouri with 41 total deaths in 2022. Jefferson County ranked 5th. St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Jackson County were the top 4. I feel like I'm winning something every time I say something. The administrative, this is to be noted too for the commission, administrative or legal fees related is allowed for opioid settlement. Is allowed, but none of that money can be used for general revenue expenses, okay? $200,000 is to be awarded to our county starting July 1st, another $200,000 possibly July 1 through June of 2025. And a reminder that, keep winning. A reminder, local information on the application for the opioid settlement is at our website, has to be submitted by the end of this month.
I have a slide coming up.
And Also, do not call the St. Francis County Auditor's Office for application information. It is to be directed to the St. Francis County Commissioners. Because our audit office has nothing to do with that, other than we will assess the information submitted by the applicants and how the money is spent.
And there's an email on our website, actually.
I have a slide on that coming up. Okay.
I was gonna, what Louis said there, again, we have not spent that money, like, I think most counties, we've actually, Carol and I have been part of this, we've created a committee, a board of individuals, in the community as well, you know, there's a few of us in here as well, but, so that's why that money has not been spent. It's not like that money just going to our general revenue and we're, you know, borrowing that. That money is sitting there waiting to be spent. 200,000 will be rewarded a year, but we have to go through the application process. And it's kind of like these grants. It's very, I mean, they have to qualify. They have to prove every dollar is going to the right, you know, being used the correct way. So that's again why we've spent a long time. I know in Louis' office, Amber's spent a lot of time on this as well, of building this application and on the procedures and everything on it. So I know we haven't spent yet. I've had some emails come to me, people upset because why have we not spent this money? You guys have $500,000 that's came. Fortunately, it's a horrible reason why we're getting this money, but it's great that we're hopefully going to be able to use this money to help future problems, help people that are having problems now. But I mean, on these things, sometimes it takes time to create we wanted to make sure we created the right system for this to be done. So we can track it, we can make sure, you know, like you know, Bridget talked about these grants, we have to make sure we're doing everything right on these. So if we just gave out this money and we weren't tracking it, we weren't proving that we're using it right, I mean, that's obviously some red flags coming up.
We've not had much interest, I'll say, expressed interest in the application. I've contacted 3 or 4 possible people to say, go to this website, get that application, turn it in. I don't know if they have or not, but you know, we need more viable groups to apply.
And I've had some questions of, okay, we have $500,000, you're only rewarding $200,000 a year. Why we're doing that is, hey, as we know on these things, it's never guaranteed that this money's gonna continue to come. And actually, we hope there's more because there's only been a couple of these settlements. There should be more companies coming along these next few years, so should be even more money coming into our county to help this problem. But so we're doing $200,000 right now, just so that way we're not. If we don't get any more in 2 years, 3 years from now, this lasts for. You know, a lot of these programs, if you only have 2 years to do this, you're not really going to make a difference. It's going to take a while, take a few years to really impact the community. So that's why we've started at $200,000. That hopefully we have reserves for the next year and the next year and next year.
So we'll have sustainability
yes,
to continue the programs throughout the year.
Correct.
Some rollover, if you want to call it that.
Yes, we're not sitting on that money, so we can go spend it on on different departments, spend on the road and stuff like that. That money is sitting there for that reason.
Well, it's very, very, the language, as Bridget can attest to, the language is very specific as to the treatment availabilities, as to what it can be spent on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The reporting is very similar to what I have to do with ARPA.
Yeah.
It's very, it's coded. I'm gonna have to go in and put specific descriptions. We're gonna have proof of other
That
things.
application is very
Yeah.
Detailed.
Good point, good work. Okay.
That brings up, when you all make a decision on that, I'm not saying just give it to one entity or anything like that, but you don't want to be like the United Way where we had 50 recipients, because you're going to have to do reporting on 50 separate companies. So I would pick out.
And that
less than a
application
handful.
process is very deep. I mean, that's where this application, there's a grading system on there, so it's not just, I mean, people have to qualify. It's not just, we got one application, we're gonna give it to them. They have to actually qualify. And like I said, we've had many people help build this application. I think it's gonna be structured pretty well.
We have a committee formed of 7 or 8 people, and these people are from the various groups that are very actively involved with opioid treatment. Hospitals, doctors, on and on. Name the group, and they have a representative on this committee. And they will review these applications and weigh them, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Any other comments? Last from the past. Tom Sebastian, Frank Hampton, and Linda Ritchie. Did you bring any names back to memory here?
Oh, yeah, man.
Okay. Well, they were doing a training wall right where this building is now. 94. Apparently, the further back you go, the maintenance handle the inside of the buildings, and road and bridge handle the outside of the buildings, and repairs and all that stuff. So, anyway, everything official, but that's just what I pick up on. Okay, Memorial Day closed, Friday, 24th, and,
No, closed.
I'm sorry, yeah, Monday, but the
Minutes have to be.
minutes have to be in by, or agenda has to be in by the Friday the 24th beforehand. Okay. Hope you, here's what I was gonna put on there. This is to get the word out of where to go to get your application. So, this will be on the website and all that, so make note of if you know of anybody that needs an application, send them there, and they can get that application. We need more applications. Any other departmental reports?
I'll make a motion, we go into recess before our, other meeting.
Yeah, you have a second personnel meeting that's coming up, so it's gonna start in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Give you a chance.
Motion
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, we're in recess.